Greenlight Network presents Football Time.
Hey, and welcome to the Football Time Show, Super Bowl Props Contest Special, one of our favorite shows of the year. We got Dynamite David with us as a guest. Going into the pro football with us, as always, on the NFL is Achilles Rain, hyped up for a big Los Angeles Rams Super Bowl. All right, long sheet of props I gave you all. Are you ready to dive in and give us some Super Bowl props winners?
I'll be honest with you. I knew last year was a pretty long list, and I expected a long list. I didn't expect this, an entire folder of prop bets.
Well, it gets better and better because gambling gets more and more legal and more prop bets come in. So by the time we're all in our 50s and 60s, we might have a whole novel worth of prop bets to get into. Dynamite, you ready to get into some professional football out of the college game? Do some prop bets?
Yeah, I think some of my sports knowledge will translate into this dark side realm of sports gambling that is prop bets for the Super Bowl.
Yes, the sports knowledge should come very much in handy during those halftime and commercial props. All right, we're going to break it down into a handful of categories. We're going to start off with our favorite pre-kickoff national anthem coin toss. Then we're going to get into our game and player props. We got our halftime show props. And then, of course, my favorite, the cross sports props. My favorite one to always have a whole lot of those, then get into our commercials, and then a little one I like to call the wonkies. So, are we ready to get into the pre-kickoff national anthem and coin toss side of things?
Let's do it.
Let's do this, baby.
All right. Let's just start off. Does anyone even have result of the Super Bowl coin toss? I know there has been some discussion amongst some of us that their big play of the week is going to be the coin toss. Heads or tails? Forget the game. Forget some player props that might come into play. He's going straight 50-50 shot. Heads or tails? I think we know who it is. Achilles, where are we going here?
Listen, now, first of all,
he's betting on both of them.
That was in complete confidence. I didn't realize that this was going to go live. But no, that was just me trying to figure out a way to squeeze out some extra coins out of those free bets that we get.
All right. So, what do you have for that coin toss?
Listen, I mean, as far as like prop bets go, this is as 50-50 as it can get, right? I mean, you really have two options here, either heads or tails. And obviously, you know, there's definitely a history as far as what the coin toss turns out to be, but can't really put too much weight on that. It's a 50-50 shot here. I think that either way, you have pretty good odds. I'm just going to go with tails never fails, and hopefully I can make some money off of that.
All right. Tails never fails. Dynamite, do you have any plays on the
I don't have a play, but I did see something interesting going around in the Twitterverse the other day. Some people were trying to start a movement to get everybody to bet on tails and maybe get that to win and really get the advantage on the books there. But
do they get the advantage if it comes up heads?
I don't think so, but I think they were trying to at least get all the money in on one side rather than split it. So it's either win or lose for the books on that one.
Also, I probably need to explain to them a VIG. The books weight it, so yep. They still have an advantage even if they lose. So anyway, no play for me. The only fun thing is back in the old days when we have to gamble on sports books across the I don't even want to say pond. The islands. If you played one team every week, made a $25 or more bet on one team every week game. They used to give you a $200 free play that would always be on the coin toss of the Super Bowl. So since those memories have long passed, I no longer really bet on the coin toss. So no play for me on that one. I have no other plays on the coin toss whatsoever. Any other plays for you on the coin toss?
No, just the one that you had to call me out on, which is, listen, I got a couple free bets, and I'm just trying to get a little extra juice out of these free bets. So I figure you put one on each side, what's the worst that can happen? They're free bets anyway, so.
All right, so he uses his free bets to try to win exactly $50. We use our free bets and try to hit a huge long
so we can
shot.
retire.
All right, so no other coin tosses here. Let's dive into the Anthem. I got a couple Anthem bets on mine. Do you have any Anthem bets on yours?
I have one.
You have some Anthem bets?
Listen, I'm not as big on all the pop culture stuff as you guys are, but I do have a couple here that might be more long shots for me.
All right, I got a couple Anthem bets as well. I must admit, though, when writing these props down and it said how long will Mickey Guyton take, I thought Mickey Guyton was a dude. I thought he was just a country dude that was like Travis Trent. And then I had to Google what the person was going to wear, and I found out it was an African-American country singer from Texas. So call me stunned, but I'm going to go over on the 98 seconds here. It seems like that one's lower than it has been in the last couple years, so I think this one pushes at least over the 98 seconds here on mine. So I'm going over minus 115, 98 seconds on the Anthem on my pick there. What do you got?
I did a little bit of research on this, and trends last 10 to 20 years or so, more often than not, you're going to get the over. I think last year and a few other years it went way over. But I looked back, and she performed the national anthem in 2015 on YouTube, and it lasted 76 seconds. So I'm going to take the under here.
Oh, she's a speed singer. Our Dynamite was in there watching old YouTube.
In-depth film research.
National anthem research on what she was. Do you got to play on the over-under on the 98 seconds?
I actually do have a play, and I did my research last year. I don't know if you recall, but I had my list of how long the average national anthem is for a Super Bowl. But I'm not going with all that. As you mentioned, this seemed a lot lower than we have seen in previous years. So that alone, the fact that it's happening in LA for the first time, it's a big moment, SoFi Stadium. So I feel like they're really going to try and really amplify all these different performances. And I think that the opening up with the national anthem is going to be the first start to it. So I'm going on the over also. Both are at minus 115, so I don't see really the harm in it, especially with it being lower than it normally is.
Yeah, I just like it because you mentioned it. It's lower than it normally is. Now we're going to go into one I have. I have the color of Mickey Guyton's outfit. And like Dynamite, I did some blistering research. I put her name into Google. I clicked images, and the first dress she was wearing on the first picture, it was yellow or gold. So I'm going yellow or gold because that's what I saw the first picture of. So I'm going plus 300, yellow or gold on the national anthem dress here. Any of you got any other plays on the national anthem through here?
I got one on the first coach, or who will be first shown during the national anthem between the two head coaches. I went with GQ cover magazine man himself, Sean McVay.
Well, we have to be agreement on that one. I think for sure they're showing Sean McVay first. I don't even think Zach Taylor's family would recognize him on camera. So I think for sure they're going with the big timer, Sean McVay. You're getting a little bit of weight there on the 150, but I think that one's worth playing that weighted line there because I don't think Zach Taylor. Honestly, I don't know if we need
how many people could pick him out.
Even if they showed him, I'm not sure we'd know. We'd be like, is that the trainer or the offensive coordinator or the coach? What do you got on here?
Listen, I'm right there with you guys as far as Sean McVay being the first coach to be shown. First of all, the game's in LA. Second of all, I think that as far as like betting favorites are concerned, the Rams are the favorites, so they're obviously going to focus on the favorite first. So I've got Sean McVay as that one. Now, as far as the national anthem goes, before we move on from that, I also have one on the dress, and I actually did some really deep research, just like you did, except that I didn't go after the first picture. I looked at a couple pictures, and I kept seeing a lot of silver and gray. So I changed my original pick, which was black, and I went to a plus 500, which is a gray/silver dress.
Oh, my. So he did in-depth research. He looked past the first photo and into other photos. I looked past the first one. I got another one. I'm going to play on the number of planes during the flyover. I think we're getting a diamond formation here. 1 in the front, 1 in the back, 2 on the sides, 2 and 2, make 4. I'm riding the under 5 at minus 165. Got a couple weighted ones here on the national anthem. I'm going diamond formation on the flyover. Under 5 for me. You got anything here?
Listen, I be honest with you, I was thinking along the same lines that you were thinking, and I thought, listen, LAX is down the street. What if, a couple of those planes sneak in there and we get a couple extra ones? But no, I don't have a play in this.
All right, no play on this one. You got anything else covering your national anthems?
I just had those 2 on the national anthem.
You got anyone covering your national anthems?
I do. I have will they show Matthew Stafford or Joe Burrow first? And although, Matthew Stafford's playing at home technically, even though it's supposed to be a neutral game, I still think that Joe Burrow will probably be the first quarterback they show. They've been really talking him up and hyping him up throughout this whole Super Bowl week, as they like to call it. So I think Joe Burrow will be the first one to be shown.
Oh, Joe Burrow, first to be shown, right in the little
plus 130.
Plus 130.
Yeah.
He's out on a limb today, fellas. All right, we move off the pregame national anthem and coin toss props and into the game and player props. And we got a lot to get through here. A lot of stuff to break down on this one. All right, I want to kick off one that I'm going to go to, and that's going to be first score method. Right off the top here, I'm going field goal at plus 150. We've watched the game. Bengals have had a little bit of trouble getting in on the red zone. I feel like the Rams might start out hot. They tend to like to get those plays down and get in there, but I don't know if they'll have enough to get a touchdown. So I'm riding field goal at plus 150 as the first score method for me.
So I went a little further than you. I didn't pick the first score, but I did pick the first score for each team individually. Like you said, the Bengals are a slow start team, but they got that heck of a kicker in McPherson. So I'm going to go with their first drive result and a field goal at plus 400. And then for the Rams, I'm going to go with their first drive result and an offensive touchdown at plus 240. I think this game, the Rams might get off to a little early bit of a lead, and then it'll just be a game of hanging on for them. So I think that's how it's going to go to the beginning of the game.
Oh, you're going both individual ones. Interesting. Any plays on game props that you want to give us? Do you have any on the first score method, or you passing on first score method?
Listen, as much as I like your logic when it comes to some of these bets, because I was in the same boat. I already, being a fan of one of the teams that's playing the Super Bowl, I already have kind of the way the game's going to play out in my head, and it's really hard for me to get off of that. That's the only reason I'm not taking any action on this, but I really like that first field goal one. I think that, as you mentioned, the Bengals have had some issues getting into the end zone, and going up against a pretty strong Rams defense, that might be the case also.
Yeah. All right. I got another one here. Highest scoring quarter for me. I think this second half tends in the Super Bowl to be a little bit of a slow put. Everybody's a little amped up. Plays aren't quite hitting at a perfect rate, so I think it's going to slow down a little bit. I like the adjustments the Rams coming out of halftime make. I loved what the Bengals have done coming out of halftime. So fourth quarter is plus 185. I didn't think there was a lot of value in there, but I do think by the start of the third quarter, maybe these teams start to find the rhythm. I thought there was pretty good value there at plus 400. So I'm riding third quarter plus 400, highest scoring quarter for me.
I've got one left here on this little grouping here, and I'm going to take the Rams in the race to 20. It's a little weighted, but I'm going to take them minus 165 in the race to 20. I think they're going to be the first to get those 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I didn't love these race to, not to spoil our Friday show where we break down the game, but I think this is going to be a scoring tight game. So I basically did not want to do any of these races because I just don't know if we're going to totally get to 20, especially since we've watched the Rams in the Super Bowl. Even going back to those Kurt Warner teams, they've never been able to really put on the offense that they have tended to show in the regular season. So I sort of stayed away from those race, to point twos, just because I was a little scared how aggressive these are going to. Any other for you on the first page of our game props here?
I originally had will there be a safety in this game, and I put no. There's been a total of 8 safeties in the entire 2021 season out of 544 total games. So, it's super weighted. I mean, it's probably not one that I would normally take, but as far as more of a lock. I think that's probably on the safer side. But I also have the fourth quarter as being the highest scoring quarter at plus 185. And my reasoning behind that is, as you mentioned, this Bengal team kind of starts off pretty slow. And we've seen this Ram team on several different occasions during this postseason tend to give up a lot of points in that second half. We saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really come back and make a game of it. But we also saw them, come back in the fourth quarter against the Niners. So they showed the ability to give up points and also put up points. And in the Super Bowl, you have that longer halftime, which a lot of players aren't really used to it unless you've been in that situation. So I kind of, assume that third quarter is going to come out. They're going to be a little slower than normal because of the longer halftime.
Yeah, I got one more first score of the game, exact outcome, and it sort of coincide with my first score method in field goal. I'm going Rams field goal plus 350. I think if the Rams get the ball first, they'll go down, run a lot of good plays. I don't think they quite get in the end zone, so I think there's good value in that plus 350. And then I mentioned the Bengals have started off pretty slow there, so I think even if the Bengals get the ball, they probably punt on their first possession. Rams come down, maybe get a score to break it open at 3-0. I thought there was pretty good value there at plus 350. All right, let's move to our next page, Dynamite. Oh, we got a couple more game props to go over here. What are you looking at in this section here?
What I'm looking at is I don't think, I think there will be a lot of rushing attempts in this game, but I don't know how many yards are going to get accumulated. So I'm going to take the under total rushing yards of 197.5. It's a little weighted heavier than the over, but I'm going to take the under at minus 120.
At minus 120. I kind of like that. Interesting one there. I'm going on another one. Team to get the first penalty in the game. I think the Bengals will be a little more amped up. A lot of the Rams have been here before. It's not their first time, so they'll be a little bit calmer than the Bengals. I think they'll be a little hyped up, especially at the start of the game. So I think something like an offsides or a false start probably come into a little bit quicker. Maybe the corners get a little over-aggressive on receivers, get a pass interference penalty. So I like Bengals first penalty at minus 120. And then to sort of ring in all those, first team to score, Rams at minus 135 for me as well. Sort of to tie in all those and maybe get a nice little combo package of a field goal, Rams first score, field goal, and Rams first team to score. Nice little combo package there. What are you looking at on this page here?
Listen, I've got one here. I've got the Bengals to get the first penalty of the game also. And again, this goes back to the way I kind of see the game playing out in my head. With the Rams being on defense and the Bengals being on offense, that offensive line has had its fair share of issues so far this season. And maybe even during the postseason, we remember against the Titans, they gave up a lot of sacks and a lot of pressures. Now you're talking about a defensive front in the Rams that's probably super stout, probably one of the best in the league. And I assume that they're going to be able to get pressure on Joe Burrow. And with Aaron Donald, anchoring in the middle of that defensive line, you can expect a holding call to come here pretty early. So I got them getting the first penalty.
Oh, interesting. Nice one. Another one I was looking at here, I don't think this is great value, but I do think this game's going to be tight, and it might be one in the last, couple minutes. So game decided by exactly 3 points. That was plus 320. I didn't love it. It probably should be up more around the 5-1. But even then, I thought there was decent value in there. And if you hit that one, that probably covers a couple more of your bets there that I liked. I wanted to talk to you all about one on here. You mentioned your rushing. You thought there might be a lot of attempts. You don't know how much yards. I was looking at this total rushing attempts, 48.5. I sort of like that over, especially since it wasn't juiced at all at plus 100. Do you think these teams will get to 48.5? It's sort of been a mixed bag. The Rams have run the ball pretty aggressively, but you think they're going to get to that 48.5?
I think that's a strong possibility because I think you may be looking at a lot of rushing attempts from both of the quarterbacks here.
Yeah.
I think these teams are going to be really getting after the quarterback pressure-wise, so you could see some scrambles that turn into rushing attempts and get some rushing yards for the quarterback there. But again, it's going to be just little 2-3 yard gainers, so I don't think the yardage is going to come, but the attempts might be there.
Yeah. Same question. You think we're going to get 48.5? That's probably about 30 on one side, 28 on the other, 25 on the other. You in and around there.
I really like the over on this one, and I'll tell you why. The Rams, who had their fair share of struggles rushing the ball throughout the season, they seem like a really pass-dominant team, really turned the tide over and started running the ball a lot more, even in certain situations. I believe in that game versus Tampa Bay where you kept saying that the way you beat Tampa Bay is by passing the ball, which is true. That's exactly how they won the game. But you saw that McVay didn't really shy away from running the ball, especially in situations where he's trying to drain the clock. And you look at this Bengals team, and realistically, as talented as they are at the wide receiver position, this team's only going to be able to keep up with this Ram team is if they keep that offense off the field. And how do you do that? By controlling the clock. How do you control the clock? Run the ball. So I like this over.
Yeah, the other thing I mentioned how I thought the game might start out a little bit conservatively, and both these teams' pass rush is really, really good. Offensive line, I'd say I wouldn't go quite as suspect on the Rams, but I wouldn't call it a unit that I'd have tons of faith in with power pass rushers. So I think both teams will try to sort of stall that pass rush in this game, especially on the Cincinnati side, with maybe just trying to run the ball, sort of control this game to not make that big turnover, really early in the game, because that's something that could flip the game on either side. A big sack, a sack fumble could come into play and really flip the game on either side. So I think both teams probably will try to run the ball. Both teams have a nice sort of depth of back, both in P-Ryan. You saw him break that big play in there, and Joe Mixon on the Bengals side, and then with Cam Akers and Sony Michel on the Rams side. So I think it definitely could play out that way.
I think one thing that could throw a wrench in it is both of these teams are pretty good at dump-off plays as well. So, watch out for that because Mixon's a pretty good pass catcher. And Stafford likes those little short dink and dunks to his receivers cutting across the middle. So that could make a play on these rushing attempts and take that down a little bit. But I think also just the fact that it's in the Super Bowl, they're going to want to limit turnovers as much as possible. So they're going to really try to get the running game going because if they can make it work, then you're pretty much safer in a sense. If you're successful running the ball, your risk for turning the ball over is less. So they're going to try to make it work if they can.
You mentioned, I think that's why I didn't highlight it because I was a little scared that it might be a lot of screens, dump offs, even stuff to like Chase coming out of screens. Same with Higgins. But all right, let's move on to a couple player ones here. I got a couple touchdown ones I'm looking at here. Now, both these tight ends are a little iffy, I might wait till game day to really come out and grab these here. But I got both Higbee and C.J. Uzomah on first touchdowns at 15-1 and 24-1, and anytime touchdowns 260 and 430. I like these because both teams are a little soft in that middle. You can really pick on them. So if these two tight ends, who are really, really good tight ends, especially down on the goal line, are playing and healthy, I think they're good bets to really have great value, especially on those first touchdowns when they might be juiced up and not feeling the injuries that they have. But really like those two first touchdown plays and then the anytime touchdown plays at 260 and 430 to the two. But I would wait until Sunday and make sure they're going, even though both have said they're going to go. Anything on touchdowns for you, Dynamite?
I've got a little mark here. I like Higbee in his value there, but again, we're not sure on his health status, so I didn't put that one down. My next go-to on there, I really like Odell Beckham. I think this could be a game where he comes out and shines. Yes. I know, Cooper Kupp's been the guy for the Rams all year, but I think Beckham is ready for his turn and his time, and I think he may step up in this one. So I've got him at plus 900 in the first touchdown. I also like his plus 140 in anytime touchdown. I think he's going to score at some point in this game. And then one other play I like on the anytime touchdown. I'm a big fan of the Rams getting a defensive or special team touchdown in this game. I think it's going to happen. They're going to be after Burrow, and I think, ball hawk Ramsey's going to jump something and take it to the house, or Donald's going to hit Burrow and knock him out, and there's going to be a fumble.
Well, I'm going to save that for my MVP on the Super Bowl play here. But, I was looking at Beckham. I liked the first touchdown at 9-1 a little better than the anytime. I just thought that, value at 140, it's like, you're getting something, but you aren't getting great, even though they've used him a ton in the red zone. What do you like in the touchdown side of things here?
Well, listen, it doesn't have the best odds. It actually has the worst odds, but I like Cooper Kupp to get the first touchdown. As Dynamite stated,
that's the guy that's spinning both his free bets on heads and tails.
Listen, as you stated, Odell Beckham's definitely due to have a big game. I think he's about to. He had a big game last week.
Yeah.
But who called the touchdowns?
Yeah, you're right.
Cooper Kupp has been doing it basically all year long. You know, he's been the focal point of that offense, and defenses know this, and they try to stop it, and they can't. So, yeah, listen, the odds aren't great. It's only plus 490, but I think that as far as, if I had to really put money on a guy, I'm trusting Cooper Kupp. He's been doing it all year long consistently, and he hasn't really fallen off the track. So I like him for the first touchdown. Another one on the opposite side of the ball for the Bengals. I like Joe Mixon to get the first touchdown on this one, and it's simply because I know the Rams defense, the rush defense, has looked really good in this postseason, but we saw it throughout the entire year. That was probably their biggest Achilles heel, was their rush defense. They were giving up a lot of rushing yards. Now, they were getting to the point where they could, eventually stop teams from getting in the end zone. But I think that Mixon's talented enough in the passing game and in the rushing game that, if they're really going to put a lot of attention on guys like, the Tyler Boyd and Higgins, and then he's going to be open. He's going to have some room to potentially do something, either catching the ball or running the ball. So I like that also. Also, T Higgins, plus 1,200. I think there's a lot of value there because Ramsey has been actually asking the coaches to let him shadow Jamar Chase, which, if that's the case, then I think that Higgins is going to, be open down the middle. And not just that, I feel that Burrow's going to have to get rid of the ball pretty quickly. When he's going for a big play, he looks at Jamar Chase. When he's looking to get rid of it quickly, he looks at the big body of Higgins, on inside cuts and things like that. So I think there's definitely some value there.
Yeah, I think so. And, me and you always are on the first touchdown. We look at the value backup tight ends, and then it's always the guy who's on the top of the list.
We tease him about taking Cooper Kupp, but how many times has he won you first touchdown this year? Like 4 or 5 times? So
yes, I think that's where it actually ends up. We end up hitting one, and consistently you're better off taking the 5-1 one every time.
Cooper Kupp actually helped pay for some of the repairs in my home this last month, so I'm quite satisfied. But, another thing, just in case Higbee doesn't play, I think that a good play would also be Blanton. We saw him when he came in, and basically when Higbee got hurt. He actually played pretty well. I thought he did a good job at not just, pass blocking, but also, kind of faking blocks and then getting out and catching a little dump off. So I thought he did a pretty good job, and I thought he could be a sneaky good play if Higbee doesn't play.
Yeah, that was 3 weeks ago when that would have been the first touchdown. Good one to bet on, because I don't even know if he was listed, because he had 2 catches prior to that. A couple more on the multi-touchdowns. I mentioned Higbee as my first touchdown at 16-1 for 2 touchdowns. Shot there if he plays, but a long shot. The one I kind of like is really take the long shot on Jamar Chase. 3 or more touchdowns. He's sort of a boom or bust a guy. So if you're on that boom period, you mentioned Ramsey wanting to shadow him, but I think more than likely, as we've seen with this Rams defense, they probably will stick him on Higgins and try to double up, Jamar Chase. So I think there's a chance that Chase might, break a couple there. And, it's sort of a boom or bust thing. You've seen it with Chase all season long. He has these games where he puts up monster numbers. If that's one of those games, maybe you hit that, and that covers your whole Super Bowl pretty much, if you can hit that 24-1. I have one other in the other touchdown props. Anytime touchdown and team to win. I have the Bengals on the win side and 18-1 on SimGP ride. You saw him break that big screen pass in that game, which really is sort of what flipped that game on its head a little bit. And I feel like maybe this is the type of back in those Super Bowl that you sort of see, the James White types that keep getting those dump-offs because the quarterbacks just are scared to sort of go down the field with it and sort of alter the game. So I think B. Ryan has a shot here at 18-1. Anytime touchdown, team wins. I really like that one. Any of those you like?
There's one here. I'm probably going to be getting in the boat with Achilles on this one. He likes Cooper Kupp on the first touchdown. I like the value a little bit better with Cooper Kupp, first touchdown, and the team to win. I think the Rams are going to win this game. So getting that juice a little bit more at plus 750, I think that's a really good value there for something that throughout the years proven to be almost a sure thing.
Yeah.
So I like that one there. And I also like I talked about it earlier, the Odell Beckham, the anytime and team to win at plus 220.
I looked at that one. I thought that one's pretty
It's
good.
a little bit better, too. It's another one where I think if Beckham has a good game, the Rams are probably going to win. So put them together. good value there.
Yeah. What are you looking at in this one?
I'm on the same boat as Dynamite. I think he basically, hit the nail on the head with his analysis as far as those two picks go. As I mentioned, I'm definitely on the more conservative side of gambling. And like I said, Cooper Kupp has paid off for me pretty much all year long. The value obviously hasn't been as great as the season that's gone on, but there's still value there. And if you're going to take him to score the first touchdown, and you're one of those people that thinks Rams are going to win this game, there's definitely some value here at plus 750.
Yeah, I think so. I like that a lot, especially since, you're getting value because the Rams are favored in this. You mix that in with the Cooper Kupp touchdown. Pretty good value there at plus 750. First touchdown and Rams to win the game. All right, a couple more game ones I'm going to get into. Total QB sacks by both teams. I really like this one.
This is probably one of my favorite
this
props
one was
of the whole Super Bowl.
highlight 5 in this one.
Yeah.
I mentioned the Rams having trouble blocking a lot this season. The Bengals, as you know, have had trouble blocking this season. Both teams have really, really good pass rushes here. I think 5, really, really nice value there. The over is even on 5 there. The only thing you sort of have to worry about is, in the Chiefs game, Joe Burrow probably rolled out of like 3 different sacks there, which sort of comes back and haunts you. But I think 5 is a pretty low number when you're getting both sides of it and both lines who are, a little bit shaky mixed with good pass rushes here. So I loved that 5 and over on the even money.
You know why I love this one so much is I'm a Titans fan, and I watched this playoff game between the Bengals and the Titans, and the Titans defensive line is very similar to the Rams defensive line. They get great interior pressure with some of the best interior defensive linemen in the country, and they're going to be eating Burrow alive in this game. And I think you might break this over number just in the Rams sacks.
Yeah, we know you watched the game. You were 2 feet from the TV the whole time. We were down there watching you watch it.
He really was.
What do you like on this sheet here, Achilles?
Listen, I've got I got Cam Akers' first rushing attempt. 3.5 yards. As I mentioned, I know that this Cincinnati Bengals defensive line is pretty good, but most of the pressure comes from the edges. Their interior pressure it's okay, but it's not up to the Rams level. So it definitely opens up some gaps there in the middle. So I think 3.5 yards for the first rush for Cam Akers, who's been pretty explosive this postseason. Even though he's had a few fumble issues, his rushes look pretty explosive. So I like the over in the 3.5 yards first carry.
All right. Well, guess what? We're on agreement on this one because I also have first rushing the tip Cam Akers over 3.5 yards. So we're in agreement on that one for sure. I know this one is always your favorite one. You always get mad at me when I shake it, but I can't resist. Will Matthew Stafford throw an interception? I'm going to lean towards the yes there. I'm not getting as good of odds as I got last week on the even money.
But it paid off.
But it paid off. It should have paid off twice. But at minus 130, yes, you're looking at it, a little bit of a more porous secondary in the Bengals. But I'm just curious how Stafford reacts. He's shown you, even in the game versus the Bucs, he had 2 or 3 there where he should have been picked off, wasn't picked off. So he'll give you an opportunity. I think there's value there at the 130 on that one. Any others in this sheet you liked?
I've got one more. I've got the Rams convert their first third down attempt, and I've got yes at plus 120. And my simple reason behind it is this whole entire postseason they've been really balanced as far as rushing the ball and passing the ball, and I think that adds a different dimension to a team as far as having to defend them. They've been pretty good and successful at converting third downs this postseason, so I'm just going to roll with the hot streak and say yes at plus 120. I think it's got pretty good value.
Yeah. All right. Any other things on games you want to get over on this sheet here?
Well, moving on just a little bit here. You like Matthew Stafford to throw an interception. I like Joe Burrow to throw an interception.
Well, you had your combo with your turnovers earlier on the other page, so I guess it fits in.
Yeah, I just that Joe Burrow, it's juiced down a little bit more than the Matthew Stafford, but I just think the pressure is going to get to him in this one.
Yeah, I didn't love that one because he's been sort of semi-accurate. Now, he did have the one that got dropped last week in the game that also could have flipped the game with the Chiefs, and given the Chiefs the ball back right after that. And then, of course, he let him down and got the score. But I'm also going to go first rushing attempt Joe Burrow. I'm going over the 3.5 as well. Joe doesn't really scramble like run. But he sort of peels out of sacks, usually on a third down when everybody's pulled back, and that usually leads to about a 6, 7, 8-yard run. So I think there's pretty good value here in the over 3.5 rushing attempt, which means he can get sacked. It won't count as a rushing attempt. So he actually has to cross the line of scrimmage, and I think when he does that, that's going to equal a 6, 7, 8-yard run for him. So I like that over Joe Burrow first rushing attempt, over 3.5 for me. What are you looking at on this page, Achilles?
Listen, I got one. It's not super lucrative here, but I've got the first kickoff by Matt Gay result in a touchback, and I've got yes at -130. It's not crazy decent value or anything like that, but I feel as far as odds are concerned, you're more than likely the Rams were top 10 in the NFL as far as touchbacks were concerned. So I think that Matt Gay's got a pretty good shot. He's been a little shaky with his field goal conversions, but his kickoffs have been pretty stellar so far all postseason.
Achilles, the man who goes 30-5 on prop picks and wins $40. All right,
wins a win.
Any others on this page you like here, Dynamite?
I've got a couple that kind of go hand in hand on how I think the narrative of the game is going to go. Like I said, I think the Rams are going to jump out early. Bengals are going to climb back in. Will they get enough? I'm not sure. But with that, I'm going to take the Rams to score first at -130. And I'm going to take the team to score last, the Bengals at +110.
Oh, I got longest field goal made, over 46.5. We've seen McPherson hit a bunch of 50-yarders in there, so I don't think the Bengals will be scared to sort of launch a couple long field goals in there. We've seen the Rams sort of move the ball and then come up short. Now, granted, Gay's come up short a couple times in there, so 46.5 seems to be right around his length, but in the regular season he was kicking better than that, so I like the over 46.5. No weather or anything to deal with in that one. And then I really liked this one. Will there be a lead change in the fourth quarter? Like I said, I think this game's going to be close, so I thought yes, +250, really good value there. Double your money if you think this game's going to be close. Probably going to be a lead change in that fourth quarter at +250. Anything else you like on this one?
Nope.
All right.
I've got one more on there.
Oh, he's got another one.
I've got the total second half field goals made.
Oh.
I'm going to take the over 1.5.
I looked at that
I think
one.
there could be 2 field goals in the second half here, and it's juiced to +120. So I think that's pretty good value for something that happens in a lot of football games, more than one field goal in the second half.
I have, will either team make a field goal in the first quarter? I have that as yes. It goes along with my other, bets where I'm going
first score.
First score for the Rams is a field goal. So I just thought, if you're going to connect them, might as well connect them and win 5 or 6 bets than winning one bet. Largest lead of the game by either team. I really like this one. It was over under 14.5. That's over 2 touchdowns. I've stated I think it's going to be a close game. So if someone's getting a 15-point lead, it's probably not a close game. Now, granted, the Rams have made me believers that they can get over a 15-point lead, and then the game can get close so far this year. But I think this one stays tight pretty much throughout here. And then will the team that scores first win the game? I put no, but once again, that connects with my other ones where I think the Rams are scoring first, field goal. So in that way, I'm leaning a little bit, and that's +150 on the juice there. And then total interceptions by both teams, 1.5. You mentioned you like Joe Burrow for a pick. I like Matthew Stafford for a pick. We both win that one. That's 2 picks. Also, I think Stafford's going to get 2 picks in this game. I have a 2-and-2 system going. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for me in this one. We'll get into a player interception one that I'm looking at as well in a little bit. Anything else on this page that you like?
I got quite a few here. I've got the total yardage of all the touchdowns in the game. I'm going to go over 84.5. I think we could see a couple big plays here. I know the Super Bowl is not usually the destination for big plays, but I think with the the star-studded cast of wide receivers we have in this game, we could potentially have some big plays. So I think it goes over that 84.5 yardage in the touchdown scores. I also have, will the Rams score a touchdown in the first quarter? I picked their first touchdown or their first score to be a touchdown, so that kind of goes hand in hand with that, and that's even money. I've got, will the Bengals score a touchdown in the third quarter?
Ooh.
Bengals, big second half team. They've shown it time and time again. That's juiced to +115 for a touchdown in the third quarter for the Bengals. And I also took the total interceptions by both teams. Like you said, it could be 2 from one, 1-1. However it works out, as long as it gets to 2, you're a winner on that one at -110. And then I still really like this one, and I already named the Rams as the team I think is going to do it, but will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown? It's plus 235. I like that one. I think we're going to see something weird like that happen in this game.
Yeah, definitely. So we already had a talk about your 84.5-yard one. I was more on the negative side, but you make a good point that there's so many big play receivers in this game that it's more than likely, and even if you look at like Mixon and Pirine, could be a big play off them. Anything on this page that you like?
Yeah, listen, I've got a couple here. One of these does have great value. I've got, will either team make a field goal in the first quarter? It's kind of almost on the same, mindset that Dynamite had there for the, fourth quarter or third quarter? Cincinnati's definitely showed an ability to get down the field, but they've also shown their fair share of struggles at getting into the end zone. So that's just the way it's playing out in my head, at least. The Bengals will have the ball in the first quarter and try to score a touchdown, but obviously they'll fail. The Rams defense is pretty good at stopping teams from getting into the end zone.
I like that one as well.
It's not great value. It's at -110, but I feel like, the odds are definitely in your favor in that sense, so you got a chance to make a little bit of money there. And another one here is also in the same boat as Dynamite. Will there be a special teams or defensive touchdown? And I feel like both of these teams have a good possibility. One, the Rams have a stellar defense, and they have a lot of big-name players, which we've all heard, all the storylines by this point in the season. But also, Matthew Stafford has been doing a pretty good job himself at trying to give other teams the ball and letting them stay in the game. He's thrown quite a few interceptions throughout the year and also in the postseason. So I think there's definitely some potential there. Also, Powell has been doing a really good job at doing kick returns and punt returns. So I think there's definitely a good chance for special teams or defensive touchdown.
I'm looking for a Devin Hester opening kickoff return here.
Plus 235, and there's some value there.
All right, I'm going to get into a couple other ones. Total number of different players to have a passing attempt. I easily got the under on 2.5 on this one. While, yes, you might use Chase or Beckham to throw a pass here.
Or an injury.
Yeah. The only thing that would concern me would be an injury, because I don't think either of these coaches have the stomach to call the wide receiver pass in a Super Bowl
Philly
game.
special?
Yeah, I don't think that one's coming into play. So the under at -150, 2.5. The only thing is if an injury comes up and, if that happens, so be it. But I really did like that one. And total number of different players to have a rushing attempt, 8. I went under on that. I tried to add it up. I threw in Chase in that one, Burrow in that one, even threw in Stafford, and I got to about 7, really, unless you're really starting to use, backs who are like 3rd, 4th on your depth chart, and you're mixing in receiver carries, and you're mixing in quarterback carries there. So I thought 8 was a couple too many, especially in a Super Bowl when you tend to sort of lower the number of players who are going to get touches. You aren't going to hand the ball off to your 3rd string running back.
You're not trying to save anything for next week's game in this one. So, if you've got a hot hand, you're going to keep riding that.
So I liked 8, and I also liked it because there was no juice on it, just the 110. So I really liked that one a lot. Anything on that page you like?
I got one over here. I like this. Will there be a 2-point conversion attempt? In today's football, we're starting to see the 2-point conversions more and more. Unfortunately, as a Titans fan, I saw one I didn't really necessarily want to see a couple weeks ago. But it's even money, and yes, so I think that's pretty good odds for something that we've seen happen a lot, especially if we get to a situation where the Bengals are trying to make a comeback and be getting close to evening the game out. So I'm going to take the yes at even money.
Yeah, I almost pulled the trigger on that one. Didn't quite pull the trigger on that one. Anything you looking at in this one that you really like?
Yeah, I've got 3 on this page. My first one is, will there be a 2-point conversion? I'm on the same, train of thought as you guys are. We've seen it a few times already this postseason, and if this game is going to be as good of a game as we've seen throughout this playoff, except for the wild card round, then I think there's definitely a good shot that someone will need a 2-point conversion at some point. So at even money, I think there's some value there. Another one that I like here is the number of players to have a passing attempt. Now, I'm on a different boat than you.
Oh, he's thinking Jamar Chase or Odell's going to throw a pass.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm actually on the over. This is 2.5, which means that that someone other than the quarterbacks has to throw a pass.
Are you excited for John Walford to come in there?
No, that's not even it. But listen, we've seen
field goal, fake punt, maybe.
Oh, that's exactly the way that I'm leaning. Johnny Hekker has definitely shown throughout his career that he's got the ability to throw a pass, and the Rams haven't been shy about it. Now they haven't done it as much since Coach Bones went to Dallas, but we know that he's got the ability. If the Rams are down, for example, let's say they're down, and it comes down to a fourth down, and either you've got to punt the ball or late in the fourth quarter. I don't see why they wouldn't throw Hekker in there and try and get. There's nothing left to lose at this point. It's the last game of the year, so I like the over on that one at plus 130. And that last one, same as you, the rushing attempts. I think that they're going to stick to the guys that they know have basically got them to that point. I don't see a lot of Darrell Henderson. I don't see a lot of Funk in this one. So I'm taking the under in the.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't have Funk for the touchdown props.
Yeah, I don't think Funk is going to see much playing time in this game unless it's a complete blowout.
I wanted you to do Funk touchdown, Bengals win, touchdown prop on that one.
Oh, yeah, that's coming.
Yeah. All right, I got a couple player ones on this page that I was looking at. Will K-Maker score a touchdown in the first half, plus 270. I think they're more likely to get that rushing touchdown in that first half than in the second half when they tend to sort of throw a little bit more. So I like that 270 little value there for K-Makers on the touchdown, especially if they get methodically down there on that first drive and they're sitting on the 3, 4, 5. They tend to run the ball more in those sets than force a ball into Beckham or Cooper Kupp in that one. And then total rushing yards by Sony Michel, 16.5. I liked the over on that one. You saw it in the championship game with the Chiefs. We talked about it on our show. The Chiefs did not utilize the running game, even though it was going really, really well for both McKinnon and Edwards-Helaire. You saw Edwards-Helaire, who had 6 carries, I think about 42 yards. So if you're giving Sony Michel 7, 8 carries, which I think probably is about ballpark, I think he can get to easily over that 16.5 yards on that minus 110 on that one. Anything on that one you like?
Just getting into these player props that and this goes again with my Rams performance early in the game. I'm going to take Matthew Stafford throwing a touchdown pass in the first quarter. I like that plus 160. I think if they're going to score in the first quarter, it's going to be a Matthew Stafford passing for a touchdown. So that's what I'm going with there.
All right. Anything on the player side of things that you're looking at?
Listen, I got one, and I'm kind of on the same boat as you. This has got to do with Sony Michel. They've got Sony Michel's total rushing attempts at 5.5. I think it's going to go over in this one at plus 110. I think there's some value there simply because we saw Cam Akers have some issues holding on to the ball. And I think with the Super Bowl, on the line, I think McVay's really going to try his best to try and, use his workhorse, which is Sony Michel, to get those dirty yards and then try and use Cam Akers for more of a big play.
Yeah, you can see I have it like half highlighted. I started to highlight, and then I was like, all I could think about was that Tampa game where they decided not to give him any carries for some reason. So I think I'm half in on this one because I mentioned before over on the 16.5 yards. I think he probably gets about 8 carries. I think they realized they sort of overtaxed Cam Akers in that Tampa Bay game. There was a little bit more balance in the game against the 49ers. Granted, neither of them ran it all that successfully, but a little bit more balance. So I'm giving a half highlight on that one, in that one. And then total receiving yards by Cooper Kupp. I just wanted to talk about this one because this one was way higher than I think I've ever seen a Super Bowl receiver prop over under. He sits at 107.5 yards. I don't think, maybe going back to like when Randy Moss was with the Patriots, that they put at over 100. They're going over 107.5. Does anyone have the guts to take the under on that one, or does anyone have the guts to take the over on that one? Because it seems high and it seems low. Well, that's the same thing.
That's what it seems really high, but they've got that number right on the money because I don't know if I'd feel good going either way on that one. So that's why I didn't make a play on this one.
Yeah. What do you think about that one? Because you got Cooper Kupp on a lot of touchdowns, but to take over under on 107, not only that, it's in a championship game. I was just stunned it was that high.
I mean, you think about it. You think about any team that has the number one wide receiver, and you realize that the opposing defense is obviously going to be focusing completely on him. If they shut him down, they have a good shot at winning the game. Defenses have tried to do that all year long with Cooper Kupp. So the number, as shocking as it might be, I think I'm with Dynamite. I think that they hit it right on the head. I think that's exactly where it should be. I'm scared to take it. The over, I'm scared to take the under. And so I feel like Vegas did a really good job at putting that line together.
Yeah. One other, I had halvesies the highlight on. I started to highlight, and then I crossed total receiving yards by Van Jefferson, 31.5. I started to go under just because I don't know if they're going to utilize that third receiver a whole lot. I started to grab it in our cross sport props. There are a couple more in there where I have a chance where that might be even better value if the team gets a better number. So I stopped there, went more in the cross sport props, but I was also looking at that Van Jefferson 31.5. Anything else in the player category?
Going off of all the attention that Cooper Kupp's going to be getting from this Bengals defense, I think Odell Beckham's going to be getting a lot of attention and some love from Stafford in this game. I already talked about his chances of getting a touchdown, but I'm going to take his over 5.5 catches in this one. I think he might get 6 or more, so I'm going to take that. It's juiced to plus 130, and I think that could be a good shot. Yeah,
interesting. Any other player ones you looking at on this page? I got a couple more team ones on the next page. I'm looking at will the Rams get a rushing touchdown? I already took Cam Raper's touchdown in the first half. Minus 150. Thought that was pretty good. They tend to try to run it in there early, and if they get down there around the 5-6, maybe those guys, we've seen the Bengals defense a lot porous against the run so far this season. And then total net yards, Los Angeles Rams, 396. Like I said, I think this is going to be sort of a low-scoring, tight game. 400 yards. I thought that was a little bit high, so I went under on the 396 on that one. Anything you looking at on this page?
Yeah, I've got a couple here. My first one is, and it kind of goes hand in hand with that last one I made about the passing attempts, by players, 2.5. So if you took that one, will Johnny Hekker attempt a pass? Plus 600. Yeah. There's definitely some value there. And as I mentioned, if you took the other one where you believe there's going to be a third person making a pass, if I had to put my money on it, I would go with the guy who I've seen do more often than not, which is Johnny Hekker. So I took this one at plus 600. Another one here is the total number of different Rams to have rushing attempts. It currently sits at 4. And I sat down and started thinking just like you did. I don't think Funk's going to get much play time. I don't think Henderson's going to get any play time, which I think it's going to be basically a mix between Cam Akers and Sony Michel. And let's say that they, want to do almost wide receiver where they bring him into the backfield, which we've seen it happen throughout the year. That still leaves you only 3. I don't think that they attempted 2 different times, 2 different wide receivers. So I think that even at 4, at least you break even and you get your money back. But I think it's a pretty good number, and there's some value there.
Yeah, we've affected him. He's taken a 6-1 punter to throw a pass, long shot. He hangs around us enough. The gambling starts flowing in his veins. Any on these you looked at that you like?
There's some team ones that I really like here. Total first half points, Rams over 13.5. I like the over at minus 105 here. I think they're going to get out to the early start. And then this one kind of goes into my favorite prop bet in total quarterback sacks by the Rams defense. It's set at 2.5. I love the over here. It's too bad they're penalizing me and giving me minus 200 there. But I think it's
we got him taking a 6-1, you taking a minus 200. Role reversal here.
But I just think it's such a sure thing. I couldn't stay away from it. So definitely taking that one there.
Yeah. A couple more player ones on the next page I was going to get into. Will Joe Burrow throw a touchdown pass in the fourth quarter? I think this game's going to be sort of played out in the fourth quarter, really sort of conservative played, and then they're going to start to open up and try to win this game in the fourth. So I like that one at minus 120. I already talked about Jamar Chase. You're in sort of a feast or famine mode here. If he's in feast, he probably hits a reception over 27.5 at even money minus 110. So I liked that one. Jamar Chase to score a touchdown. That was even money on that one. And will Jamar Chase score a touchdown in the first and second half? Once again, if he's on his explosive game and we get that 200-yard, 3-touchdown performance, he's probably getting 1 in each half, plus 600. Couldn't turn that one around. Any other player ones you're looking at?
Listen, I got one more here, and this is just kind of a shot in the dark here. I'm assuming that the way it plays out in my head is that the Rams get ahead in this one, and that defensive line is going to get a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow. If that turns out to be the case, then the Bengals are going to be down, which means they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. If that's the case, there's Joe Burrow pass attempts, 36.5. Both of them are at minus 110, but I think that if the game plays out the way it's playing out in my head, there's definitely going to be a situation where you have Joe Burrow attempt at least 40 passes. So I thought that there was definitely a chance for that one to hit.
Yeah, also good value in that one because it was 38.5 in that Chiefs game. So you're actually getting value. They have it down to passing attempts in that one. Any others on this page?
I've got a nice little run of Burrow props here.
Oh, my.
And they all kind of go hand in hand with, again, my narrative of the game. Total incompletions by Joe Burrow, over 11.5. I love that. That's, minus 110. I think he's going to be trying to do a lot. They're really going to lean on him here, and so he's going to have a lot of passing attempts, which will also lead to passing incompletions. I also think he will have more gross passing yards in the second half. We've talked about it. They're a second half team. I'm getting penalized a little bit here at minus 135, but I think that's also a pretty sure bet. Total rushing yards by Joe Burrow. I love this one at 11.5. I'm going to take the over. Like you said, that's one or two scrambles. Yeah. He breaks that. And then a good thing in the NFL is sack yardage goes into passing and not the rushing. So I think he can break that 11.5. And longest rush, 7.5. I'm also going to take the over on that for Joe Burrow. And finally, on my last Joe Burrow prop bet, total rushing attempts over 2.5. I think he'll have at least 4 or 5 scrambles in this one because he's gonna be running for his life in this one.
I looked at that one, just couldn't quite. I was a little scared he'd do his little scamper thing and then throw the ball away a little bit. What are you looking at on this page here?
2 more on this page. I've got the same one as you. Will Jamar Chase score a touchdown? I think this is definitely Burrow's favorite target. So I think that big play opportunities come up, or they need a touchdown, that's the guy he's going to be looking for. So I like this one at even money. And then my last one here on this page, total field goals made by Evan McPherson sits at 1.5, and both of them are at minus 110. I like the over in this one.
I'm with you there.
As potent as that Bengals offense has been pretty much all year long. Again, we've said it several times throughout this show. They've had their struggles as far as punching it into the end zone, and they've had to settle for a lot of field goals. We saw it in that Titans game. We saw it against the Chiefs. So I think that there's definitely a really good shot that they have to kick a couple field goals in this one. And as I said, both of them sit at minus 110. So if I had to, I'm definitely taking the over on that one.
All right.
Yeah, I've got that one as well. I also like the field goals by Evan McPherson. Well, I don't like them. I like them in this game.
He loves them. He loves them.
But not a fan of them when they're against my Titans. I also like total receptions by Joe Mixon, over 3.5. I think there could be some dump downs in this game to kind of relieve some of the pressure that Burrow's going to be getting, and that's juiced to plus 120. I like that one there, and Mixon's proven to be a pretty solid pass catcher.
Yeah.
And longest reception by T Higgins, over 24.5. I think you've talked about a little bit. Chase is going to be getting a lot of the attention. That's going to open up to Higgins for some plays, and that's just one quick shot. I think it happened pretty quick against the Titans, and it could happen against the Rams as well.
I just pulled because I was a little worried that they might shift Ramsey onto Higgins and do the sort of Bill Belichick thing where they put their best corner on the second best receiver, then double up the first receiver.
So up over the top.
Yeah, I was just a little worried about that, so I pulled off the 24.5. I didn't do the field goal one, though. I really sort of liked it. I think that's a good one. On to a couple of ones that I didn't love this one, but I thought it was pretty good value. What will happen first? We mentioned the Bengals have started slow. Score or punt. Punt was minus 160. Not great value, but I do think when we're doing the props and you're doing so many of them, it's good to have ones where you sort of know you can win to offset sort of a couple of these long shots ones you're taking, and it doesn't make the long shot ones you lose as much of a hit. So Bengals to punt on their first possession, minus 160 for me on that one. And then I got a couple more player ones. I'm going Trey Hendrickson, tackles solo plus assisted, over 2.5. He doesn't tend to get a ton of tackles. He's more of a pressure guy. But I think they're going to utilize his aggression on there to run at his end, so maybe he falls into maybe 3 or 4 tackles in this game. And I mentioned a fun one. Will Eli Apple intercept a pass? Eli Apple's easily the worst corner on this Bengals team. I think they will be going aggressively after him. I think Stafford's going to throw a pick at 7-1. I thought there was pretty good value there because I think they'll be throwing Eli Apple's way. If he can sit down on one, he might get one. Stafford tends to throw him up, and then once again, I took the under on the net yards for the Rams. I'm going to take the under on the net yards by the Bengals as well, under 368.5. I talked about how I just think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and it'll have to build in to teams really moving the ball. So what do you got?
I've got one team prop left that I like. We've said it many times tonight. Total second half points by the Bengals, over 10.5. They're going to dig themselves a hole. I believe how big that hole is, I'm not sure yet, but I think they're going to surge in the second half, and so I've got 10.5 points.
Yeah,
over.
nice. All right, we're about to wrap up our player and game props. I got a couple head-to-heads to get through. Most receiving yards, Cooper Kupp, Jamar Chase. Kupp was 24.5 point handicap on this one. Once again, I've talked about how I think Chase has a boom or bust sort of thing, so I thought there was pretty good value there on the minus 110 to be within that 24.5. Also Chase over Beckham. Now he's on the opposite end of that one on the 19.5. And then Odell Beckham versus T Higgins. Beckham getting 7.5 on that one. I really liked that one on the minus 110. And Tyler Boyd at minus 6.5 over Van Jefferson. I talked about how I almost took that Van Jefferson under. I think Boyd probably sneakily, I didn't do it throughout, has a chance to be the sneaky receiver here. We talked about numerous times over the middle how the Rams are sort of soft in that spot. Boyd's the one they send over the middle more than even Higgins. So I think Boyd grabs a couple of those. And then I loved this one, and I thought there was pretty good value. Rams first half points versus Bengals full game points, even though that handicap sits at 8.5. I talked about how I just think this first half is going to be played low, and I think you're getting pretty good value there for getting full game points in that one. Anything on the head-to-heads that you liked?
No, I wasn't too crazy about a lot of these, but after hearing you talk, I might have to jump on a few of these. Actually.
Yeah,
I've got a ton of head-to-heads
You
here.
are man, so, Dynamite David is going head.
I like the head-to-head picks. More completions. I'm going to go with Stafford at minus 110 head-to-head, and that's in a pick 'em. More pass attempts. I'm going to go with Burrow at just minus a half there. I think he's going to have a little bit of the edge on the attempts. Touchdown passes. I'm getting juiced here. I'm taking Matt Stafford plus 130. Like I said, I'm leaning Rams, so I think the stats may benefit Stafford here. First touchdown pass, again, I've said the Rams touchdown pass Stafford minus 135 head-to-head against Burrow. First interception. I'm going to give Burrow the first interception. So I'm kind of going all in on Rams and against the Bengals in most of my picks here. But more rushing yards, even though he's getting minus 6.5. I think Burrow, I think he's got a little bit quicker feet, the younger legs there for sure. And also he's got the bigger and faster guys running after him. So he's going to be trying to get out and getting what he can, especially on those third and long plays.
He doesn't have 10 years of being driven into the ground.
Yeah, playing for the Lions.
On his shoulders on that one.
And then my last is highest scoring quarter by both teams. I'm going to take under 19.5. I think while this may be a high scoring game, I don't think we see more than 2.5 touchdowns per quarter.
All right, so that gives our game and player props. Now we get to move to some fun ones.
This is the good stuff.
All right, the good stuff here, the halftime show props, and it's going to be a hell of a halftime show. So let's get into it. I'm going to start. Who will be the first to speak, sing, or rap? And I'm going to combo package this because we also got what will be the first song at halftime. And I think it has to open next episode. So I got next episode plus 190. If you think next episode's coming, then Snoop Dogg's going to la-di-da-di-da, his opening words there at plus 140. So combo package, Snoop Dogg, next episode. Now, that being said, I gave a little tip to you on what I sort of really wanted to do here.
Now, I'm going to show you here. I have this marked. I also like your next episode Snoop Dogg combo. I think that's likely, but but I'm going to take a little bit better odds, and you kind of leaned me into this. You brought it to my attention. I really like the opening beats to Family Affair.
Yeah.
And that means we might get Mary J. Blige first. And you know, my personal opinion, others disagree with me. I think they're going to start with the somewhat not as huge stars, and you know, my opinion, I think Mary J. Blige may be one of the least popular of this group, so they may have her opening up. Plus 350 with her and plus 850 on Family Affair. But I think that opening is almost just as good as next episode.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's why I probably pushed you into it. But just the Family Affair, Mary J. Blige beat to open it up feels kind of right. Granted, California Love, but I can't go there.
It's technically not any of their songs.
That's
so
sort of a Tupac song. Granted, Dre does the whole beat and writes the whole thing, but still probably a Tupac song. Where are you leaning on opening song here? You didn't get in our Mary J. Blige conversation.
No, and I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I probably would have tried to talk you out of this. Now, I'm an LA native. You know, I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, and that's my city.
That's why Eminem is his favorite singer.
Yeah. But listen, you know, I was really torn choosing between Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, because both of these guys, I think, represent California, you know, as far as the rap game is concerned. You know, I grew up around the era where these guys were, you know, the kings of rap and hip hop. So I'm actually going to go with Dr. Dre, though. I think that nothing gets more LA than the Doc. So I'm going to go with Dr. Dre to open it up. And I was kind of thinking about California Love, but as you mentioned, you know, the whole Tupac thing really came into play. So I actually thought that they'll bring out Dr. Dre, and then shortly after they'll bring us Snoop Dogg, and they'll open up with Nothing But a G Thing. So I think that's the opening.
Nothing But a G Thing.
I think next episode is what they're going to use to bring in the rest of the guys, since it's more of a it has more people performing in it. So I think they open with Nothing But a G Thing at plus 700, and I think Dr. Dre is the first guy to come out at plus 130.
Yeah, I think if you want to do California Love, you probably combo package that with the Tupac Shakur journey during halftime.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
The problem with that is, I think yes at plus 250 didn't quite hit the number I really wanted it to. I think that probably should have moved into the 6s or 7s.
Maybe they could do one of those immersive holograms like they did at the Panthers games this year, where Tupac can like fly around the stadium or something.
So no love for Kendrick Lamar, the new LA California rap native. I think we're all sort of showing our age a little bit here. We probably needed a younger generation to throw out Kendrick, because we're throwing out Snoop, Dre, and Mary J. Blige.
I'm sure my brother is probably watching this, and he's like, are you guys even going to bring up Kendrick Lamar?
So, well, none of us did Eminem, so at least a shout out for that. Will Eminem have a beard during the halftime show? Yes, minus 400. I just saw the guy the other day. He still had a beard, so I'm just taking the cheap free money on that.
I saw a clip of him today rolling in on a golf cart into SoFi. Now, he had a mask over his face because COVID and all. I think they're gonna have him shave this thing. This is probably one of the biggest live performances he's done in a long time, and I think he's gonna be clean shaven. So, and I'm getting juice 250. I'm taking the no beard.
I think he's like the rest of us. Uses the beard to cover up our chubby Asian face.
Also, you know, we're going back to a lot of old school songs here, back with him and Dre. So he may want to go back to his old school look. Yeah. So, no beard.
No beard for you. Beard for me. I'm trying to steal a cheap couple bucks on that one. Any love on the beard in that one?
I'm not taking any love on the beard. I'm not up to date with my Eminem, looks. But last time I saw anything with Eminem, he had a beard. So, but I'd probably say no.
Anything else you like in this one?
Yeah, there's a couple I like. I like the how many times will Eminem curse during the halftime show.
Yep.
I've got the under in that.
Ooh, oh no.
Listen, I know he's got a reputation, but he's a lot older. He's a lot calmer now. And not just that, it's Super Bowl, so they're probably going to bleep it out and censor it anyways. So I doubt I doubt he'd go through the trouble of having to curse if he knows they're just going to bleep it out.
Well, I think if he knows they're going to bleep it, then I don't think he'll care to drop him.
Well, there won't be much talking. It's a lot of singing and performance going to happen. And when they perform these songs, a lot of times it's just a clean version that they put on there. So I'm going to go with the under, with the no on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you, though I didn't do the under. I did the no Will Snoop smoke a blunt on stage. This is bloody NBC. They will not allow him to do that. So he'd have to go very rogue, and even then, they'd probably pull him off stage. So
this will probably be the only time that you'll see Snoop Dogg not smoking a blunt. So
yes.
I also took the no at -170
yeah,
on that
so
one.
I got two cheapies here, Eminem Beard and Snoop Dogg -170 blunt. Anything you in love with also on the Super Bowl props?
Just moving on, we'll stick with Eminem. I think, what will he wear on his head? I think the go-to is going to be the hat or hoodie.
Oh, you're trying to steal some cheap dollars on that one.
That's some cheap dollars. It's -240. I don't think he'll go as far as to do the do-rag. Now, that kind of goes against what I just said. If he's going for the old school look with the clean shaven,
yes.
he might throw the do-rag on there too, because that's what he used to rock when he was back doing videos with Dre.
Yeah, that was called the 90s.
Yeah. And then just a couple of things I've got on Snoop's attire. I'm going to give him black shoes. Plus 300. He is a hometown guy, but I don't think he's going to show it much here in this halftime show. I think he's going to try to stay as neutral as possible because he's going to want to have as many. He's not going to want anybody in Cincinnati mad at him for wearing Rams colors. So black shoes, and also with that, I'm going to take no on Snoop wearing Rams clothing at plus 180.
Yeah, we're on that one. I'm going no on Rams clothing. I think it'd be more likely he popped out in a Raiders jersey than in a Rams shirt.
Old school.
He's actually a Steelers fan.
Yeah, but LA vibes, Raiders side of things. But shoes, once again, I did some aggressive research. I Googled Snoop Dogg, opened up those images again, and the first one I saw that showed his shoes, he was wearing some white Chucks. So in that, I have white plus 300. I don't know if that will work out because I'm assuming he's probably not wearing Chucks either, but who knows. But yeah, we're on the same one. Wearing Rams jersey, I'm going no on that one.
Listen, I'll do exactly the ones you guys did. Snoop Dogg shoes, white. Listen,
we're on a collabo there.
If you watch Snoop Dogg perform at all, you know that he likes the white shoes. He likes the white kicks. He likes looking clean. As far as Eminem's covering, I think that he's going to go with no head covering. He's got the nice clear, black hair, and I think he's going to try and show that off. As I mentioned, he's a little older, so he's not... And also, it's California. It's L.A. I don't think it's going to be...
I believe he's going bald, actually.
I hope not. But anyways, the other one I've got, Snoop Dogg will be wearing any Rams gear. Now, he's very famously stated that he's a big Steelers fan, but I think for the Super Bowl in L.A., he's a big L.A. guy, so he's going to go all out support the L.A. team, even if it's not his team. So I think he will be wearing some Rams gear. Will Mary J. Blige be wearing fur or fox fur? I put no. California weather. I don't see them wearing the big coats like Champ was going to wear for this show. Will there be lowrider vehicles? Probably outside, but not for the performance. So I put no at plus 150. The number of references to marijuana during halftime, I got that under 2.5.
Oh, see, I like the over there.
I don't. This is the Super Bowl. I don't think that they're going to spend their time talking about marijuana.
Have you listened?
David is living in the 2000s pre-Nipplegate here.
Can we say nipple?
We can say nipple, but he has.
What's the over-under on us? Anyway, we'll move on. No, I think that, you listen to any of these songs, they pretty much all have, now, references to marijuana can mean a lot of different things here.
Again, I think I completely understand where you're coming from. It makes total sense if this was like an actual performance, not a Super Bowl performance, just a concert that we're going to. I'm totally with you. I think that the references are going to come up. Definitely take the over. But for a Super Bowl show, halftime show, on national TV, prime time, I don't think that there's any chance.
Sponsoring this.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance.
I'm on the under.
At least 3.
That. Now, I'm against you. I think Snoop comes out in a lowrider, bopping up and down onto that stage. So I got the yes on that one. If you've ever seen Mary J., she's always in a fur. Mary's coming out in her fur. I know she is. So I'm on that one. And then I got a couple other ones. First Dr. Dre's song performed. I picked next episode for what will be the first song performed. So if I have
all
that,
in there.
I sort of have to go all in on that one. And then how many songs will be played during the halftime show? I got under 10.5 plus 265. I tried to count how many they were going to do. It's right in that 9 area.
It's going to be quite the compilation. I think we're going to get quite a selection of top 40 songs from all these people. I've got
back in our days.
I've got.
Well, that's I was trying to count
the oldies.
I was trying to count how many new Eminem songs they were going to throw in there that nobody likes. But
at quick glance, I wrote the over at 8.5 here, but I think the under 10.5 is the better bet. I'm going to change that. I like the under 10.5 because I think it's going to be around that 8 or 9 number, but it's not going to get to 11.
Yes.
So, and plus with that under 10.5 being juice plus 265, so I'm going to go with you on that one.
Yeah, definitely so. All right. Any other halftime ones you got to break down?
There's a couple I like, but nothing that I'm in love with, so I think we'll just move on.
All right. So halftime show is done. Now we get into the big ones. Now we get
Buckle up. This is Champ's segment here.
This is my wheelhouse here. This is what I live for in the Super Bowl. The cross sport props. Soccer, golf, basketball. It all comes down, even a little hockey, though I don't think I picked any of the hockey because I don't know anything about hockey. I don't know a ton about golf either. But soccer, basketball.
I've got 4 in this whole segment.
Yeah, I got a lot in this whole segment. So as per everything.
I'm glad I don't because this gives you a good spotlight moment here.
This gives me a spotlight moment. So we'll kick off. We'll go NBA style. We're going to have who will have more. Evan Mobley points, rebounds versus Matthew Stafford completions here. Evan Mobley been a great rookie, probably rookie of the year so far in a great rookie class, but he's not a big scorer. They just traded for Karis LeVert. This probably depends if Darius Garland is playing a little bit as well. He's been injured. We'll see if he bounces there, but I like Matthew Stafford minus the 2.5 incompletions there. Nikola Jokic, points, rebounds, and assists versus Odell Beckham Jr. receiving yards. Now, this game is versus the Raptors. Anyone who knows the Raptors know they're essentially playing 5 guards right now, or let's go wings. Nikola Jokic, probably the best center in the league, so he probably will have a 30, 20, and 8, even there. And the 16.5 token, I think Odell Beckham's in the 70s there. So Jokic would have to have a really, really big night. Fully capable, but I'm taking Beckham on that one. And then we have Darius Garland points and assists versus Joe Burrow completions. This one has a little bit of a stigma because Garland's been hurt, but if Garland's playing, I think points, rebounds for Garland on this one versus Joe Burrow completions minus the 1.5. Pretty good there on that one. Anything you got on the NBA side of things?
And not on the NBA side. I'm going to be sticking to my NCAA wheelhouse. So when we get to those, I've got
Dynamite's
some
looking out for college. Any NBA ones you liked?
I've got 2 here. I've got the Brooklyn Nets first quarter points versus Joe Burrow's completions, and I've got Joe Burrow here at minus 110. And the only other one that I really liked enough to actually put some money on is the Magic versus Suns margin of victory versus Cam Akers rushing attempts. And I like the Cam Akers at minus 110 also.
Yeah, we are on agreement on that one. Brooklyn Nets might not have James Harden, so Lord knows what Brooklyn Nets are going to be playing in that game. Granted, it is in Miami, so Kyrie Irving theoretically will be playing in that game, but that's always sort of a 50-50 thing as well. So Brooklyn Nets might be trotting out a lot of people you don't know in Patty Mills. Just look at their previous couple games there. So I do like the Joe Burrow one with completions at minus 110. Anthony Davis versus the Los Angeles Rams points versus Anthony Davis points. The Warriors, no Draymond Green in that one. I think Anthony Davis, though the Lakers suck, Anthony Davis has come back and been scoring a lot of points. So I think he gets around 30. That's even money on that one, minus 1.5. I like that one a lot. Devin Booker points versus Rams Bengals first half points in this one. Really like that one, especially since this game is versus the Orlando Magic. Devin Booker probably a safe bet in the 30s in that one. 30-point first half over under. Don't love that one. Couple more NBA ones to get into that I liked. Fred VanVleet points versus Rams total points. Rams have a 6.5 on that one. VanVleet probably get in and around 18 to 24 points in that game versus the Nuggets, who aren't great at guarding on the outside, especially in the guards, and probably will throw Gordon on Pascal Siakam. Who will have more? Joel Embiid, free throws made, Evan McPherson points. I liked this one because that means Embiid, even though he's been great, has to make at least 9 free throws in this one. I think McPherson gets 3 field goals in that one pretty safely. Plus, he has a 2.5 spread on that one as well. So 9 then becomes 11.5. I think that one's pretty good for McPherson on that one. And then lastly, Tyrese Maxey points versus Rams Bengals second quarter point. This one's sort of hot and cold. And also, James Harden could be playing for them in this game. So Tyrese Maxey minutes load might go a little down. But Maxey's sort of a hot and cold guy. If he ends up with like 24 points in this game versus the Cavaliers, second quarter points first that I really, really like. All right, that's my NBA ones. We'll move on to college. I know you like a couple of these college. I got a lot of college ones as well. Why don't you kick us off?
Okay, so I'm going to start with who will have more either Gonzaga tournament wins or Tyler Boyd receptions. This is at a pick'em, and I think Gonzaga's almost certainly a Final Four team, in my opinion. Now, it depends on the matchup. I think they're going to get at least 3 wins, which gets them to that Elite Eight. And I don't know if Boyd's going to have more than 3 receptions. Yeah, so I'm going to take Gonzaga.
We're on the same one on that one. Yeah. I have Gonzaga too. 3 wins was a pretty much definite. 4 wins, I lean towards a very heavy, and there's even a pretty solid chance that it's going to be 5 wins. Yeah. And could even
be 6.
And that's where we're getting sort of out of the Tyler Boyd range. The only problem with this is your money's going to be held up for 2.5 months here on these, but they're still kind of fun. So,
sticking with Gonzaga, that's who will have more in the St. Mary's Gonzaga game: Gonzaga's points or Jamar Chase's receiving yards. Gonzaga's going to score quite a bit on St. Mary's. They're winning their conference games at an average of, I think, 25-point margin. Look for Gonzaga to get around 90 to 110 points in this one. I don't know if Chase is going to have that big of a game. I don't like the Bengals' offensive output in this game, as much as the media is starting to hype the Bengals up that they're going to be right there with the Rams. I think the Rams are going to control most of this game, so I like this one.
Well, we were on the same wavelength on Gonzaga. We're against each other in this one. I watched a lot of St. Mary's and Gonzaga games, and St. Mary's loves to slow this pace down to a crawl. So this game usually hits in the 60s to 50s as St. Mary's plays an old school, just milk the shot clock, try to be efficient. It doesn't always work. Sometimes it does. Probably won't work, but I think the game will be low scoring enough. Plus, I have a lot of Jamar Chase futures already in the props, so I have that one tied to it. We're talking about tournament wins. I wanted to go on to those. I have Kentucky tournament wins over Joe Burrow touchdown passes plus interceptions. I think we both, as you know, on our college basketball Road to Madness show, both big on the Kentucky Wildcats. I think 3 wins probably assured in this one. 4 wins likely. 5 we might be stretching it, but I think there's a very, very solid chance we get to 3 to 4 wins in this one. So I like that one. And then Indiana and Cooper Kupp touchdowns. Now, this came before yesterday when Indiana decided to suspend their whole team. Granted, if that occurs, I'm not quite in love. But if this Indiana team is whole, you go Cooper Kupp, maybe 2 touchdowns. I think Indiana at least doesn't lose in the first round, probably gets through the second round, loses in Sweet 16. So I like that one as well. Any others you like in the college basketball game?
That's all my cross-sport props. So I'm going to take another break here for a little bit.
All right. Any cross-sport ones you liked in the college game?
Listen, I just took the basketball ones because I follow that a little bit more than I do college basketball, and that I was actually very excited to hear about you guys because I know you guys have been doing a really good job at shameless plug time here at doing your college reviews and betting shows. So I've been checking those out, but I still don't have as much knowledge as you guys do. Now I do.
All right. I got a couple more college basketball ones. UNLV points versus Joe Mixon rushing yards at -4.5. UNLV playing Boise State. If you've watched our show, UNLV's not scoring a lot of points in this game. I can pretty much guarantee it. So I'm going Joe Mixon rushing yards. Even if he has 50, 58 rushing yards, there's a solid chance UNLV's hitting in the 40s here. So I think there's value there. Same thing with UNLV first half points versus Rams Bengals first half points. I think that one's a little bit more difficult to get to, but I still like the Rams Bengals first half points in this one. And then I think there's great value in this one. This is probably my favorite one. We talked about it a little bit. Arizona going to Washington. Now, you watch Arizona, you think they're scoring high, but this is where it gets weird. Washington is just one of those teams that makes the game very unpleasant to want to watch or to play. They will sit in their crappy Syracuse zone and drag this game into a game that is unfun. Arizona won't get into the 90s. It'll probably be played in the 60s. Likely in the 50s, too, since they're traveling up there. So I got both Jamar Chase receiving yards and Odell Beckham receiving yards, -22.5 on these over the Arizona first half points and Arizona points. And lastly, one other NCAA tournament one. I'm going the other side of things. Purdue NCAA tournament wins versus Joe Mixon first rushing attempt. So how many yards Mixon gets? I think he can get 5 yards. If he gets there, I don't think Purdue's
Or he
winning.
gets stuffed at the line.
Or he gets stuffed at the line, but I think he at least gets...
He might be rooting
he
for
might
a
at least
upset.
He might get at least 3 yards, I think, on the first one.
That does make these bets interesting is the Super Bowl will be over, and then you'll be watching the tournaments to see if you get your bet or not. So
yes.
A delayed reaction Super Bowl prop bet there.
A delayed reaction, but I had to go against one of them in tournament wins. Purdue was the one I chose to get bounced early. All right, couple more cross-sport props. I'm going the soccer route. I know these boys I haven't dragged in, though the dynamite I'm starting to drag in. Couple more 4-1 long shots, and he might be full bore. This one I haven't dragged in.
I've gone through my soccer phase.
Big Bear Leverkusen win the other day.
Big Bayern Leverkusen win. He ignored my soccer betting advice.
I got it late.
He slept through it. Got to get up early on Saturday for those soccer bets.
Yes. All right. So we're going Liverpool-Burnley goals versus Joe Mixon receptions. Anyone who's watched Burnley play knows they like to sort of stink out the game. Granted, they've been a little bit more porous on defense, but even then, Liverpool's not giving up goals to Burnley, especially since they traded out Chris Wood. And Burnley got a nice tie, 1-1 earlier this week. I think in this game, probably 2-0 Liverpool. I think Mixon gets over those 2 receptions like that one. Barcelona Espanola goals versus Joe Burrow touchdown passes. Anyone watching Barcelona play? No, they have no defense this year. They have a lot of offense. This game's going to be like 4-2, 3-3. That's going into the 5-6 range. I don't think Joe Burrow's throwing a 5-touchdown pass game. No. So I really like Barcelona Espanyol. Sampdoria AC Milan. Now AC Milan just came out of a 4-0 win in Coppa Italia. But Sampdoria AC Milan, I think this game going to be played on a more lower tier. So Cincinnati Bengals touchdowns, probably around 3. I think this game goes under the 3 in Sampdoria, so I like the Cincinnati Bengals. AC Roma Sassuolo versus Rams Bengals field goals made. I think there are probably about 4 or 5 field goals made in this one. Roma, while they started off playing a fun, open style, the Mourinho style is back in play. They're stinking out games, unfun to watch. Granted, Sassuolo is one of the funnest teams to watch. If you're watching Serie A, watch Sassuolo. Keep that in mind. I like Rams Bengals field goal made nonetheless in that one. And then we're going to the Olympics here. Olympics, men's hockey, Germany, USA, goals versus Matthew Stafford, rushing yards. these are not the elite hockey players in the world. Not only that, Olympic hockey tends to be a little bit more high scoring. So I'm going Germany, USA goals minus the half versus the Matthew Stafford rushing yards. I think that stays under the about 4 or 5 or so yards. So those are the cross-sport props I lock. We're loaded up. Keep those in mind. Put those in your window. Those are always winner, my favorite thing to bet on. All right, before we get into more fun with the commercials, let's do a little MVP odds here. I got a couple I'm lined up with, but Dynamite David, you give us your first MVP candidates here.
Okay, so, I've talked about it all night. I think Odell Beckham is going to have a huge night. And if the Rams win and he gets a touchdown or 2 and 100-plus yards, I think, we've talked about Stafford's stat line. It may be a little ugly, may have a lot of incompletions, a couple turnovers. Maybe he's pretty consistent with at least 1 turnover a game. Therefore, if it's a good passing game, Beckham may be getting a lot of those yardage. So I like the 20-1 odds there a lot better than the 6-1 odds for Cooper Kupp. So taking Beckham there. And then my other long shot, I've talked about this a lot with the defensive touchdowns. Everyone thinks about this Rams defense and they go to Aaron Donald. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go with the more experienced Super Bowl player in Von Miller.
You're going for Von Miller to have 2 Super Bowl MVPs?
I think, if there's a strip fumble, what if it's, Donald strips the ball, Von Miller could pick it up and run it in for a touchdown. And if it's a game-changing play like that, and maybe, Stafford doesn't have the offensive game that I'm thinking, and that defensive touchdown is the difference in the game, they're going to give the MVP to one of those guys. And I like the odds a lot better at 50-1 than Aaron Donald 16-1.
Yeah, I want to go back in time and take a bet. Aaron Donald, 2-time Super Bowl, Von Miller, 2-time Super Bowl MVP winner.
500-1.
I think those odds would be astronomical. So that would be interesting, though. I must say, back in the Carolina-Denver Super Bowl, one did bet on Von Miller to win that MVP. Strip sack fumble. I was very scared the whole time they were going to hand it to Peyton Manning and his noodle arm, but luckily Von got that strip sack fumble. Von Miller MVP. Good win on that one. What do you like for MVP here?
Listen, as far as the odds are concerned, some of them are pretty favorable, but I think to play it safe and get some good odds, I think you're looking no further here than Aaron Donald. Now, of course, I'm assuming that the Rams are going to win this game, just the way I have it played out in my head. And if that's the case, we've seen several instances in Super Bowls where necessarily not the best player of the game will get necessarily the MVP. Sometimes it's the guy who made the biggest impact or the biggest play. We've seen it happen several times. And not just that, I think that Aaron Donald is this team's leader, both, mentally and, emotionally. I think that this guy basically, you saw what he did in that game against the 49ers. He rallied that team, that defense. And not just that, he was the guy who got after Jimmy G and caused that interception that basically ended the game and sent him to the Super Bowl. And right after that, he started pointing to one thing, his ring finger. He wants a ring, not just a ring. I think he also ends up with the MVP. He's my favorite for winning it at 16-1. I think there's definitely some good juice there.
Yeah, you and I on the same wavelength. Both have Aaron Donald at 16-1. The Matthew Stafford at 6-5, untakeable, and even the Cooper Kupp at 6-1. The chances of a receiver, even though I got Chase down here, 6-1. That's totally worth this value because we've seen it numerous times. James White had like 16 receptions in that Patriots game. They still gave it to Tom Brady in that one, though some guy set the receptions record. So there's no telling what Kupp would have to do in that one. I think I come off Stafford just because I think other players have names. Donald has a name. Kupp has a name. Ramsey has a name. They're at least known commodities, and that's sort of what you have to get it off the quarterback. Now, I will admit, if you're taking the Bengals, it would be very, very difficult for Joe Burrow not to be named MVP. He'd basically have to fumble the ball every time he has it, and then they'd still somehow have to win the game, which seems highly unlikely. quickly. That being said, I did have Chase also down at 16-1. If he has, huge 250 yards, 3 touchdown games, I don't know if they give it to him. But with Joe Burrow's odds at 5-2, Stafford at 6-5, there's no value there to take that, even though you might as well just bet on the game and who you think's going to win. If you're doing that, especially on Joe Burrow, you might as well just take the Bengals money line. Better value there on that. So I have Chase 16-1, but the Donald 16-1. If you think the Rams are going to win, at least a long shot, as you said, maybe he gets a strip sack. If this game is tight, plays close, gets a strip sack, turns the game. That's how Donald wins it, especially if, like we've talked about, Stafford has a couple interceptions, isn't great in that game. Yeah. Maybe they give it to Donald, maybe Ramsey too, if you're looking at that, but it'd be probably even more difficult for a corner to have to do it. He'd literally have to get like a pick six that totally, changed the game on that. So Donald, Chase, my 2 MVPs. You got Donald. You're going for 2-time Super Bowl MVP Von Miller and Odell Beckham on this one. All right, let's get to some more fun stuff. We're going to go to the commercials here. All right, we got a couple of fun ones in this. What do you like in the commercials on this side?
So, first, Anheuser-Busch brand commercial to run. Now,
I will be interested to see if we all have a different one in this one.
Now, you know what everybody's about these days? It's February. It's not long after New Year's resolutions. It's about that low-carb lifestyle. And, the first guy would think, hey, that's going to be the Bud Light Seltzer Hard Soda. Not so fast, my friend, because just into stores this week.
We've got a little inside information.
At my other job, we've got in Bud Light Next. 0-carb beer. Haven't tried it yet. Don't know if it's that great, but they're going to be pushing it hard as it just came out this week. This is going to be their first commercial aired during the game at plus 200.
I'm going the other way. Bud Light Seltzer Hard Soda.
That's got 1 carb.
Yes, I think they're going to push that one.
That carb's going to make you lose.
Because I think that one probably has the more overall appeal to a more overall audience in this one. I think that next probably just goes to maybe the mainstream male audience who's on their low-carb diets. But I think this Bud Light Seltzer Hard Soda goes to both the men and the women. Plus, I like the 600 in that one than the 200 odds for the NXT one.
How good is that 600 when it doesn't hit?
Exactly.
All right.
And you're just saying that because you're a big seltzer guy.
Yes, I'm a big seltzer guy, as I have a fridge full of it that's never been drunk. All right, what are you looking at here?
No, listen, I'm on the same boat as Dynamite is. I like the Bud Light Next. If you would have read that email that we both got, they're really pushing this hard. So I think that this is going to be probably their most important ad for Anheuser-Busch. So I'm with you on that one, Dynamite.
All right, I'm going to go. Which commercial will be shown first? The AT&T with Demi Moore, Mila Kunis, or the Expedia with Ewan McGregor? I'm writing Ewan McGregor. Expedia one seems to be like an early one. They drop in there as everybody's sort of sitting in their seats. That AT&T one seems to be more the one that probably will air more towards halftime when everybody's sort of settled in there and gets a little more life.
I haven't seen any early previews on this this commercial with Demi Moore and Mila Kunis. Does it have something to do with their relationship with Ashton Kutcher?
I'm leaning it probably does. So
that's an interesting
it's
plot.
A family plan.
That's like a soap opera plot there.
They're promoting their new family plan.
All right. So anything else you like on this one?
Listen, I kind of like the Demi Moore and Mila Kunis. I have no real information to back that one up.
Apparently you do.
No, listen, I'm just I was looking at the brands, and even though Expedia is obviously
you
one
on
of the large,
set as they were filming it?
Not this time. Not this time. I tried to call Demi to see if she wanted me to come, but she didn't answer the phone, so she must have been shooting at the time. But no, I'm going with the AT&T and Demi Moore. I just think that AT&T being a much larger brand that's more familiar with NFL, I think that's probably the one that's going to.
All right. Anything you looking at on here?
So this next one, it's a head-to-head, and which commercial will be shown first? It's either the Flaming Hot Cool Ranch Dorito commercial with Megan Thee Stallion and Charlie Puth, or is it going to be the Lay's Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd commercial? I'm going to take the Flamin' Hot and Megan Thee Stallion and Charlie Puth at -140. Doritos usually get the first play in the Frito-Lay commercials, and this is their newest flavor to drop, so that's what they're going to go with, I think.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, riding the Flamin' Hot. Doritos usually runs an ad early. I like how we're breaking this down by how we think the ads are going to run. So a lot of info here.
Every time, when you see a Frito-Lay ad in the Super Bowl, usually the first big one they drop is their Doritos one.
We also could be totally wrong. We aren't basing this on any information. It just seems like Doritos always runs pretty early. Any love on the Flaming Hot Lays? Are you going head-to-head, or are you with us here?
Well, as both of you obviously know, I'm a huge Flaming Hot guy. I'm definitely the guy to come to when you have any Flaming Hot.
What do you think of those Flaming Hot Cool Ranch?
I like them. They got a little more kick than the original. No, listen, we're not sponsored. We're not going to talk about it. But everybody knows I'm the Flaming Hot guy. You got questions about Flaming Hot, you come to me. So I'm going with Flaming Hot as well.
All right. Universal. I think we have two Universals. One of them on the Flaming Hot. So I don't know how that came to be, but Flaming Hot running over Lay's and Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd. I'm going, which commercial will be shown first? I'm going BMW with Schwarzenegger and Selma Hayek. The Budweiser Clydesdale one seems to always run in the second half with the Clydesdales. So I'm just playing BMW, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Selma Hayek, though I don't even remember BMW commercials, so they probably run late too, but it always seems like the Clydesdale one runs late in the second half.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. Normally, they save the Clydesdale. They do their over-the-top, ridiculous commercials early when the energy's high, and then they get to their more serious and heartfelt commercials later on when people have calmed down and fattened up a little bit on their chicken wings and chips and dip, and that's when they bring in the American flag and the Clydesdales. So that's a good bet there.
That's the logic I'm using, and of course it'll probably be the first run after the national anthem. So anyway, BMW, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Selma Hayek for me. What do you like? Anything else?
I got one more in which media company commercial will run first. I'm going to take Google at +140. I don't know if, Facebook's got the money. Maybe they'll put this meta thing out there, but I don't think a whole lot of people know what that is just yet.
Well, yeah, that's why they're running ads that show their protected text, as if we trust Facebook with our protected text.
But I'm going to go with Google at +240 there.
All right, he's going with Google. I didn't have a play on that one because I had no clue. They're all too rich. They could pretty much buy out the Super Bowl and run as many ads as they want, whenever they want. So what are you looking at?
I'm actually going to go with the Amazon Prime Video, and I think a lot of it has to do with Amazon and their delivery service delivering the ball. And I'll tell you why I'm not going with the Meta one. I don't know if you saw, but as of this morning, they actually dropped to number 6 as far as valued companies are concerned. They just got passed by NVIDIA. So they're losing a little bit of value here. So they lost value in that one, too, for me.
Now, I have a question there on the Amazon Prime Video, because this is a little tidbit that me personally, Dynamite David's personal life here. They're supposed to be dropping a trailer for the new Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power series on Amazon Prime Video. Now, does that count as an Amazon Prime Video commercial?
That counts as an Amazon Prime Video.
I may end up switching that up because I'm going to be really hyped for that Rings of Power trailer.
Yeah, that's just bias for Lord of the Rings.
Hey, what's wrong with being biased? There is nothing wrong with being biased for Lord of the Rings.
All right. Next one for me, I'm going, which will be the first device shown during a Squarespace commercial? I'm going laptop at +130. A website company, probably laptop, comes in there first. So I got laptop at +130 for me. Anything else for you?
I'm going with the big dog desktop at +550.
Oh, my.
The desktop.
And listen,
I think this is a rivalry. You got the desktop, I got the laptop.
Listen, out of the two of us, you're a more mobile creator.
Achilles over here built his own computer, so that's why he's going with the desktop.
Yeah, and it was a great experience, by the way.
Yeah, I just purchased a really high powerful laptop.
Mine's powerful too, but I put mine together. I don't have the chap type of money where I could just pay someone to build it for me.
Yes. All right. NFL, MLB, NBA players to appear in all commercials. I'm going under 7.5 at plus 150. I really had no basis for this.
As long as they don't do another one of those NFL commercials where they have about 30 different Hall of Famers in the same commercial.
So that's all I went with. I don't know. You probably start adding up who's going to be in what. It's probably way over, but that 8 seemed like a lot. So I went under 7.5 in that one. Anything else for you?
Yeah, I've got the which commercial will be shown first, the Sam's Club with Kevin Hart or the Busch Light with Kenny G. Now, I'm using the logic of the Dynamite used here. You know, I think that they're obviously trying to get everybody fired up and pumped up before the game and during the game. So I think they're going to go with Kevin Hart, you know, kind of get you going, get you energized. And then, you know, after later on.
Get the Kenny G.
Yeah, Kenny G to smooth everything down, slow it down a little bit, you know. So I'm going with the Sam's Club with Kevin Hart.
All right, Sam's Club with Kevin Hart. Does that wrap up our commercial ones?
I think so.
All right, that wraps up our commercial ones. And before we get out of here, we got a couple more.
The wonkies.
The wonky category. All right, so I thought this one was a fun one. I don't know if any of us ended up taking it.
I wanted to take it.
I think we all sort of wanted to take it, but I don't think any of us liked it. But number of times Chris Collinsworth says, now here's a guy. The over
Now
was
here's a guy.
5.5 at plus 125. I couldn't quite grab it because I think it'll be under. But the over was the only option. Anyone want to really put down on that over?
I don't see it happening more than 2 or 3 times, so I don't like that over.
Now, here's a guy who doesn't know how many times it's going to happen. Now, I'm with you. I don't think it happens that much, and just because you can't take an under, I'm not taking any action on that.
All right, so wonkies. What do you like in the wonky side of things?
Listen, I think I did the exact same thing last year. In my opinion, the most popular Gatorade flavor is the lemon lime one, the yellow one, or the lime green one. So I'm going that with the liquid that's going to be poured on the game-winning coach, yellow lime green at plus 350.
I'm going with orange, plus 180. So we got the orange at plus 180 for me. It feels like an orange.
I'm going with the blue.
Oh, my.
The Rams blue, I like
the blue is going to get dumped on the Rams in the new SoFi Stadium.
Let
plus
me tell
400.
you, we all will be very tight to the television then, because each one of us have a different one and a different color. So we'll see which one that hits. I got what will be shown first during the game. Super Bowl highlights versus the Rams versus the Patriots, minus 130. Super Bowl highlights versus the Rams versus Titans, minus 110. I have the Rams Titans. Now, that being said, there's a slight advantage to the Rams Patriots because they have played twice in the Super Bowl. It does not signify which Super Bowl highlights of the Rams Patriots they go. So it's a 2-for-1, but I think the Rams Titan one's a little bit more memorable. They'll show that one, especially if the Rams start to win the Super Bowl there. They'll probably pull that one out. So I got highlights, Rams Titans, minus 110 in that.
I'm still getting over that one, and that was 20 years ago. So.
Yes.
Listen, I've got the Rams versus Patriots, and the only reason that I've really got that one over the Titans ones, which obviously the Titans one is very memorable for me, big win for us that year. But the reason I got the Patriots one is because it's the most recent one. You know, we went to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, and we basically just fell asleep. We didn't show up to that game, and obviously everyone knows how it went. But I think since that is the most recent Super Bowl matchup for my Rams, I think that's the one that they're going to highlight the most.
Yeah, no truth to the fact that they burned the film of the worst Super Bowl played of all time.
I don't think so.
Any others in the wonkies that you want to get to?
There's one that I'm hitting the hammer on hard here, and is, will the broadcast show Stafford in a Lions jersey? I think this is almost a most definite yes. It's not juiced very much at plus 150, but I think it's going to happen.
All right. Anyone you want to close out on?
Yeah, I've got a couple here. I got what will be said first during the game. Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions. I think that when you're talking about, you know, the trade that happened between Stafford and the trade for Stafford, and they're going to have to say they sent Jared Goff to Detroit Lions for Stafford. So I think Jared Goff is going to be the first one that comes up there.
See, I'm using that logic, but I'm going the other way. I think they're going to say in a trade with the Detroit Lions, they're going to receive Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff.
I don't think that's how they're going to say.
I think Detroit Lions get mentioned before Jared Goff because, you know, as bad as the Lions are, Jared Goff is completely forgetting.
No, he's not. He led us to a Super Bowl.
He did lead them to a Super Bowl.
He has a really good record.
I don't know about the lead.
Aside from this last year, when even I was trying to get rid of him, he's actually had a pretty decent career with the Rams. So I think that just out of respect, the first thing that comes out of
He had made that pass to Brandon Cooks. Patriots would have won the Super Bowl. One pass away from winning that Super Bowl. I'm going to go and make a couple bets on the second most important bowl of the day, the Puppy Bowl. I'm riding Team Fluff in this one.
I have no idea.
MVP, name starts with K through Z. I searched. There's a couple more K through Z's, so I did a little there. And then Puppy Bowl, team to score first. We're riding with Fluff in this one. We're going all Fluff in this one. What do you like in the Puppy Bowl?
I like Team Fluff. I think I went with Team Rough last year. This year I'm going with Team Fluff because they cost me last year.
Yeah.
MVP, name starts. I went with A and J. Not simply because those letters are important to me, but also because I was trying to think of dog names and I really couldn't think of anything between K and Z. And then the Puppy Bowl first.
How about Nymera?
That's true. I mean, she was kind of hanging around me and she nearly saved me from falling to my death earlier. But and then Puppy Bowl first team to score. Even though I'm riding Team Fluff, I'm going with Team Rough to get the first score.
Yes, that's a Game of Thrones reference, by the way. Any love in the Puppy Bowl, or do you just not like dogs?
I love dogs. I have a dog, but I have no inside information. I did no research on the Puppy Bowl.
He just doesn't believe dogs should be playing football.
All right, that's our Super Bowl props show. Be sure to follow us on Greenlight Network on YouTube. Be sure to sign up for our Super Bowl props contest. We'll have all our picks up on that one, and you can make your picks to win some swaggy gear. These tumblers, we got our t-shirts, we're going to have some bags. You'll want to win those. Be sure to sign up for our Super Bowl props contest. Link below in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe to Greenlight Network so you don't miss all our shows. Me and Achilles will be back Friday to break down the actual game, see if we got any actual bets on the actual game. I don't know if Achilles is going to be able to pull the trigger on any of this. He's going to be nervous the whole day. I will definitely have a whole list of bets to go through. Got hammered a little bit in those conference championships, but we'll see if we can bounce back this week on the Super Bowl. You don't want to miss our college basketball Road to Madness show. Yeah. Really starting to heat up in the college basketball year. We'll be back on Monday for that one. So like, subscribe, Greenlight Network, sign up for that Super Bowl contest. That's our show, and we're out.